We all know just how impactful Rodeo was for Travis Scott's career, with it basically catapulting him into stardom with some of his most popular songs ever, like Antidote and 90210. The final version of Rodeo we got is super polished and truly an amazing listening experience, but the album as a whole did not always sound this way. Appreciating the album's finished sound is great, but getting to take a peek behind the curtain into each song's development is what really made me gain a new understanding both for Travis's view of Rodeo and for how he works as an artist. Honestly, some of these songs like Flying High and 3500 truly sound entirely different and give phenomenal insight into the early vision for the project, so let's get right into it, starting with the album's intro. Pornography serves as an incredible introduction to Rodeo as an album, with it having both a full spoken intro from T.I. and then a spoken segue portion from him in the middle, serving as a transition into the second half of the song, which features a mild beat switch. It seems these spoken word sections came a lot later in the album's development, as the original version of Pornography does not contain any vocals from T.I., nor does it have the beat switch that serves as the release song's second part. In this early iteration, Travis lays down some very rough mumble vocal ideas that would help him develop his verses for the song's later versions. This original beat sounds decently similar to the first part of the release song, but it's a lot less developed and missing a lot of the extra random sound effects that make the finished version so psychedelic and weird. Travis laid down some very useful groundwork for himself, and his decision to add T.I. to the later versions of Pornography was genius and really helped flesh out the song, in addition to the beat switch and the second verse he added. Next, moving on to Oh My Decide, whose original version was solo Travis with no Quavo to be found. This early iteration of the song was made on May 24th, 2015, only a few months before Rodeo's eventual release date, and is basically a near complete version of the track, just without Quavo vocals. The song at this point was a bit shorter because it lacks that third verse from Quavo, along with his ad-libs throughout the song, and his various short lines are filled in by Travis. This is interesting that Travis didn't even get Quavo involved with the album until the final months working on the project, and he may have even been considering multiple different artists to add a third verse to the song and just landed on Quavo.
Get back on this side, really miss the feeling of the late nights. Shit we used to do around midnight, hanging on the corner, had shit tight, doing all the drugs, had to get right. If I could bring my partner back, it'd be nice. He would shoot the one, wouldn't think twice. He was too involved with the street life, only way to live on this side.
Moving on to 3500, which has an interesting development story. The original beat and idea for the song was titled Bin Trill and was produced by DJ Mano, who served as Kanye's personal DJ during his Yeezus era. This song featured verses from Travis, Mix Terror, and Z Money, and was made sometime in 2014, well before Travis would work on the song for a release on Rodeo. This version of the track was actually given to Kanye before Travis took it back and turned the entire thing into 3500, replacing the Mix Terror and Z Money verses with vocals from Future and 2 Chainz. So that's basically how the original beat for 3500 came about, but the true original version of the song worked on for Rodeo comes a little bit after that, dated to December 2014. At this point, the song was in a very rough early state, with just Travis's finished hook, no features, a rough verse, and a very bare bones instrumental produced by Metro Boomin and Zaytoven. In an interview, Travis mentioned that his hook on 3500 came from when Kanye was in possession of the song, and it was still titled Bin Trill. Kanye played around with Travis's verse and chopped it up to essentially create the final hook on 3500.
I've been trill, I've been trill. I've been trill, been real, I've been about it. Straight up, I done came a long way off a road, saving the fucking shit up before being counted. Not a word about me, preachers doing sermons about me. Niggas sitting curves to watch me. Dude, honestly, I'm numb, and these niggas must be dumb. They niggas to get enough. Riding through, I got the hoes on with the Velazzi of it. Me and Metro do the same drugs, we got a lava of it. All the cups, I got an audio, we got an army of it. What's the guy with the whole world's and an army of it. Trill niggas, but the trill niggas out the eye of it.
Wasted began its life likely on December 15th, 2014, when the earliest version of the song was made. The track at this point was really just Travis laying down his initial vocal reference idea that would be used to develop and re-record the full vocals present on the release version of the song. The beat was also much more simple, with way fewer elements courtesy of production from Metro Boomin and Ginge. Also, Juicy J had not yet hopped on the song, so this early idea is just Travis going over the rough beat, trying to get some ideas for how to further work on his vocals for later versions of the song.
20 nickels, I be in the inno, I be in the nino, dropping out of rentals, I be poppin' shit. We be out for dough, up at dusk to dawn, niggas clocking, I be over watching, in the prime, I be on it.
Then we've got 90210, which went through some pretty huge changes before it would be on the official Rodeo release. It seems initially Travis only had the first portion of the song, with the second half featuring the beat switch coming much later in the song's development. This original iteration of 90210 was made on December 18th, 2014, and features basically just Travis's rough reference vocals over a very basic version of the release song's first half instrumental. This is well before he would get Casey Hill to record feature vocals for the song, and at this point it has production from just Alan Ritter, who laid down the song's initial melody progression.
90210, 90210, running in line. She was superstar, running in the yachty. Oh, the 90210, 90210.
Next is Pray for Love, which had zero original involvement from The Weeknd. Early on in the song's life, it was in a similar state to a lot of what Travis was working on in the beginning days of Rodeo's development, with just rough vocals from him. Unfortunately, we only have a snippet of this original idea for Pray for Love, but we know it was made just before the release of Days Before Rodeo, which would be around August of 2014, and it seems originally Travis was planning to do an entirely different second verse, as you can hear unheard vocals in the later portions of the snippet recording. Maybe he initially wanted to have 3 full verses on the song, but after getting The Weeknd involved, he cut his own involvement down to just 2 verses for the final release. We know that Nightcrawler was originally just solo Travis with a much earlier instrumental, but unfortunately there is no leaked audio of this truly original version. The next earliest audio we have of the song comes 3 days after Chief Keef recorded for it, dated April 17th, 2015. Keef recorded on April 14th, 2015, and the song is clearly still in an early spot, with it having 0 contributions from Sway Lee at this point. The beat is a little bit different, like only slightly, but sounds roughly similar to how it does on the final Rodeo release, with production from Southside, Metro Boomin, TM88, and Alan Ritter. Travis's vocals are still pretty rough at this point in the song's development, likely coming from his original solo demo.
When the night calls, yeah, order more miles, order more miles, order more eyes, shots on the eye, hotter than the sun, the winter couldn't chill, young, free, and wild, so order more kids.
The initial idea for Piss on Your Grave is likely from sometime in late 2014 or early 2015, and is a true early version of the song with very rough mumble vocals from Kanye and Travis going back and forth. The instrumental is of course much simpler, with production from Kanye, Charlie Heat, Noah Goldstein, and Mike Dean at this point. The beat would go on to be developed and worked on heavily, and both Travis and Kanye would re-record their vocals for the final Rodeo release.
Independent bitches, been body lasting in it. Had a lot of knowledge in it. My, sipping, mixing, hypnotized. Didn't minute in the vibe, minute in the vibe. I put them in dive and whip it out.
Piss in your grave, piss in your grave. Turn this up, teacher, play this in the 3rd grade. In the 3rd grade.
Antidote is a little bit of a tougher nut to crack in terms of finding its original version than most other songs in this video. The best audio we have of Antidote's early versions come from recordings of the song sourced from it being played at a show and from it being teased by Metro Boomin. In these early version recordings, you can hear that Travis's vocal take is much rougher, and there are alternate ad-libs compared to the release version. These recordings happened on June 18th, 2015, and the song released a little over a month later on July 28th. I would love to discuss Impossible, but unfortunately we have basically no information on what this song sounded like in its early days, but I think based on how he was developing the Rodeo songs, you can safely assume there is probably a rough Travis mumble demo with an underdeveloped instrumental floating around out there somewhere. I'm sure a lot of you know this original version of Maria, I'm Drunk, which was made prior to Justin Bieber being brought in to record for the song. A lot of fans have dubbed the first portion of the track Maria, which is very extended in this early iteration and would be cut down greatly for its final release, likely because Bieber was added to make space for him. Additionally, Travis has a much longer verse in the second portion of the song that fans call I'm Drunk, basically occupying the same space that Justin's vocals would inhabit later on.
Them summers in Miami, riding up in Max beat. Then I had to hit room. Now I'm finally back home, ballin' up a reed.
Flying High has, I think, the most interesting origin point, with the song not even being originally for Travis. Initially, the song was made by Mac Miller and Pharrell Williams in 2012 for their collaborative project Pink Slime that would eventually be scrapped. In this original version of Flying High, Pharrell performs the hook, and the entire thing would be overhauled by Travis once he got his hands on the song, with him scrapping the Mac vocals and bringing Toro y Moi onto the track. This one is actually crazy, and I think it would have been super dope if Travis had kept Mac on the song as like a feature verse or something.
Give me brain, I'm pinky. Double jump, then king me. Google me or Bing me. When I'm rolling to the club, everybody show me love, so everything I drink free. When you get
Next is I Can Tell, which has a pretty standard early iteration, with it originally being made in April of 2015. The song at this point actually has extra instrumental effects that would be stripped down for the song's release, and much different vocal effects on Travis's vocals. This one really wasn't changed a ton for the release of Rodeo, with the song's main structure being basically ironed out from the get-go, although I'm sure there was an earlier version than this with rougher Travis vocals.
I can tell, baby, I can tell. 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 No, you don't tell.
It seems Apple Pie was born pretty late into the development of Rodeo, with this snippet of the song's earliest version being dated to May of 2015. The snippet is so short it's really tough to hear, but you can tell that Travis has early mumble lyrics that would be re-recorded and finished up later, and the production at this point is pretty different, with it focusing around original instruments before Travis and Mike Dean added synths and various other sound elements. This is likely at the point where it was just Terrace Martin and 1500 or Nothing doing the production for the song. Okay, alright, we know originally was just Travis and Schoolboy Q without the feature vocals from SZA and Zona Man, as it appeared on an April 2015 tracklist with only Q listed as the feature. Unfortunately, we have no audio of this early version, but you can bet it probably had a rougher instrumental and early mumble vocals from Travis. And finally, we've arrived at the last song officially released on Rodeo with Never Catch Me. The earliest audio we have of the song features an unfinished second verse from Travis, along with a slightly altered instrumental compared to what we got on release. Also, Tanashi has an extra chorus in this version for some reason that would go on to be removed, and this version of the song was debuted on the Rodeo tour on March 12th, 2015, well before Travis would officially release the album.
I know I died, these zombies, they want my soul from me. Know that I'm gone, but one thing, they will never catch me.
catch me. Never catch me.
It sucks we don't have audio of Okay Alright and basically no information on Impossible's earliest version, but the fact that we have such a clear picture of Travis's original ideas for like 95% of the Rodeo tracklist is crazy, and like I said in the intro, helps to flesh out how he went on to develop all of these tracks. It's interesting how on some of these songs, like Pray for Love, Travis always planned to have a third verse on the track, he just removed his own concept and placed The Weeknd on it. But for like Oh My Decide, for example, it seems he was content with the song in its early state and then just added another Quavo verse on. Regardless, it's super cool to be able to get such an early look into how Travis created Rodeo and all of its sound ideas, and I have to say I definitely appreciate the album a lot more after hearing where it started at. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and let me know down in the comments if you think any of these early Rodeo ideas were better off before they were worked on and developed more by Travis.